Hello, my name is Grant Shigori, and I am a product manager here at Wasabi Technologies. In this video, we are walking through how to turn on Wasabi's most important security features. These features cover a number of important areas for both account and data security. From inside the Wasabi console, you can enable security settings to prevent unauthorized deletion of your buckets or your account. You can also use the Wasabi console security features to bolster account access, notably multi-factor authentication and SSO. You can configure SSO and leverage your existing identity provider to align your Wasabi login experience with your existing organizational security posture. Lastly, you can create immutable buckets in your account with Object Lock, an S3 feature that allows you to add data into a bucket that automatically becomes immutable for a time frame that you specify. A password for login is the first level of security on your Wasabi account. However, a system password can be compromised. That's where multi-factor authentication, or MFA, comes in. Multi-factor authentication offers additional security control. A virtual MFA device generates what is called an authentication code. Account access is granted only after a user successfully provides this code from their authentication device, such as a smartphone. You can enable MFA at the Wasabi root level and at the sub-user level. Each user is limited to one MFA device. Additionally, you can opt to generate recovery codes. This allows you to access your account in the event that you lose your authentication device. In order to acquire recovery codes, set the recovery codes toggle prior to setting up MFA. Alternatively, you may opt to reset your MFA in order to configure recovery codes for the first time. To configure MFA, click Settings on the Wasabi menu. Open the Security Settings dropdown. You'll then see MFA Settings is displayed. Open the virtual MFA application you're using on your smartphone or elsewhere. If applicable, choose the option to create a new MFA account. Scan the QR code graphic with your smartphone camera, or enter the secret key directly into your MFA application of choice. When a one-time password appears in the MFA application, enter this password in the Wasabi area labeled Authentication Code 1. After approximately 30 seconds, the device will generate a second one-time password. Enter this password in the Wasabi area labeled Authentication Code 2. This code is also time-based. Click Activate Virtual MFA. The next time you log in, you'll need to enter an MFA code. Multi-user authorization is a feature unique to Wasabi. It's a security feature that requires multiple users, or what we call security contacts, to approve of sensitive activities on a storage account. If there is an attempt to delete an account or a bucket, and MUA is configured to protect against those, then a security contact will be prompted to approve or deny that activity. If even a single security contact denies the deletion, the activity cannot take place. As a root user, you can add up to 3 security contacts who will be required to sign off on account activities that you specify. Multi-factor authentication must be enabled before you can add a security contact. To add a security contact, click Security on the Wasabi menu. Select Multi-User Authorization. Click Add Security Contact. Enter the email of the security contact. Note that the domain must match your root account domain. Click in the Activities area to open the dropdown and select the activities for this contact. The security contact will preside over these activities and prevent against malicious activity. Click Continue. Confirm by entering an authentication code from your multi-factor authentication application. Then click Send. Please note your security contacts must accept this invitation. You can see their invitation status in the table. Wasabi supports single sign-on. Single sign-on, or SSO, allows users to access multiple applications and systems with a single set of credentials, eliminating the need for multiple logins and passwords. SSO improves security by reducing the risk of weak passwords and enabling centralized authentication and access control for your Wasabi account. You can set up SSO in your own account. You will need to enter standard SSO configuration information and define user roles. The following steps will help you set up SSO. Start by clicking Settings on the Wasabi menu. Then, open the SSO Single Sign-On dropdown. Click Start SSO Configuration. Enter your organization name, which is a unique identifier that you and your users will use when signing into Wasabi using SSO. Click Add Organization. The organization name is displayed along with the drop-down menu to select the SSO connection. Click the SSO connection drop-down to select the connection type. You can select one of these two protocols, SAML or OpenID. If you select SAML, you have a few configuration options. One option is to upload an IDP metadata XML file. Another option is to provide a URL where we can fetch your IDP metadata. And lastly, you can enter your details manually and enter the sign-in URL and sign-out URL. Choose a file for the X509 signing certificate, and lastly, review and complete the IDP configuration. If you select OpenID, work through the instructions on the screen to enter the discovery endpoint and client ID. You may need to configure the OIDC issuer with the callback URL noted at the bottom left of the screen. After entering all information, click Save Connection. In order for SSO roles to work in the console, they must be assigned to users within your organization's identity provider and be returned to Wasabi in SSO claims. Without this, we cannot match a user with a role. To assign a role, click Create Role. Enter a role name, assign policies, and create a role. Now you can go ahead and sign in using SSO. Object lock prohibits modification, overwriting, and deletion of specific object versions during a configured retention period. A retention period can be specified on each object placed into a bucket. Additionally, bucket level settings can be applied so that new objects placed in a bucket will inherit a default retention setting. Please note, when using certain third-party applications, such as Veeam, you should consult our Wasabi Academy documentation to determine which object lock settings should be used and when. Object lock must be enabled on a bucket before you can use the functionality, so you need to enable object lock during bucket creation. Let's create an object lock bucket. When creating a bucket, enter a bucket name and select a region for storage. Click Next. In the Set Properties section, slide to enable the bucket versioning toggle. Slide to enable the object lock toggle, and then finish creating your bucket. When placing objects into an object lock bucket, consider if your use case requires a default object lock configuration. If you choose to set a default configuration, your objects may be subject to one of two retention mode defaults. These modes include Governance mode, in which objects are immutable until after they reach a defined retention date. In governance mode, the root user or any user who has IAM permissions to bypass governance retention can bypass the retention period and modify or delete the files. The second mode is compliance mode, in which objects are immutable until after they reach a defined retention date. Compliance mode cannot be reversed for any reason by any user, regardless of user permissions. No user can modify or delete objects in compliance mode until a defined retention date has passed. For more information, please visit Wasabi Academy at docs.wasabi.com. Thanks for watching.